In this video, you will learn how to use Google Drawings to create a mosaic drawing. This is what Google Drawings looks like. It's similar to other Google programs. You'll see the menus listed up here, and then there are some drawing tools there. The first thing we need to do is change the color of the background on our artboard. So for this, you right-click, go to Background, and then choose a color. I'm going to choose a neutral gray. If you're working on a Chromebook, you'll press Alt plus click in order to get to the right-click menu. Okay, so we've got our background. Now we need to insert an image. We're going to search the web for this image, but you can upload from a computer if you'd like. You're finding a picture of your spirit animal. So I'm going to do a search for, I don't know, baby owl. Let's see what comes up if I search for a baby owl. The picture that you choose for this project is very important because you will be tracing what you see. So you want to find a picture that is interesting to look at. The more detail, the more difficult the project will be. It's good to choose something that has a lot of light areas and dark areas. I decided to choose this picture. It's got a lot of detail, but it's also very beautiful with light and dark areas. Now you want to crop this picture. So double click on the picture. We'll bring up the crop tool. You want to pull over. Oops. So remember, always pull the black bar with the crop tool instead of the blue dot. So I'm trying to make this image fit my artboard or that gray background that we created before, because that is where you're making your mosaic. It's really important to learn how to use the zoom in and zoom out keys for this project. So you have to press Control, Alt, and the plus symbol in order to zoom in, and then Control, Alt, and the minus symbol in order to zoom out. You should practice doing this a couple of times. You're going to need it a lot during this project. So here I am zooming in, and now I'm going to zoom back out. Now I zoom out so that I can adjust the photo so that it fits better on my artboard or that gray background. So I'm double clicking to bring up the crop tool. And I'm trying to make the animal as big as I can, but still so it fits on the artboard. The bigger it is, the easier it will be to make into a mosaic drawing. Okay, so how are we going to create a mosaic drawing? Besides knowing how to zoom in and zoom out, you will need to know how to use two other tools, the Select tool or the arrow tool, and then the Polyline tool, which lives under the line menu at the top. To use the Polyline tool, you will click and then move, and then click again, and it will create a straight line between the 2 points that you clicked. You must get back to the first point in order for it to create a shape. You can then go up to the bucket tool to change the color. And then you'll also want to change the line to transparent for this project. Something that happens sometimes with the Polyline tool is if you click in one spot, but you didn't mean to, you'll have a line attached to where you clicked. Now, how do you get rid of that? Go right up to the Select tool or the arrow tool, click on that, and it will release the line. You can use the Select tool to move your shape around. You can also use the Select tool to double click on your shape. These little purple circles will come up, and then you can change the shape that you have already created. To get rid of a shape, select it with the Select tool and press Delete. Okay, let's go back to the Polyline tool and make sure that we know what we're doing here. So you select the Polyline tool, it'll change the way the cursor looks. Click where you want to start your shape, click, click, click. Now, if you do not close the shape, it will not fill it in with a color. So you just delete that. Make sure that you can close your shape, and then you can change its color and use it for your project. So now we're going to use the Polyline tool to start adding shapes to our photo, because we are creating a mosaic using the photo. So look at this. I'm just going to first trace a dark shape where I see the darkest color on my owl's ear or feather. And I'm going to choose a color that's as close to that area as I can. And I'm remembering I'm making the line transparent. Okay, so we're making a mosaic. So that means we're going to be filling up the space with lots of shapes in order to create the image. So I've drawn another shape, and you can draw whatever kind of shapes you want. Now it's hard to see, so I just did that zoom in, right? Control Alt plus the plus symbol. I pressed the select tool because I wanted to fix this shape a little bit. So I double clicked on it to move those purple circles, and I go back and I select my polyline tool. And now I'm going to continue to create shapes in that dark space. And a mosaic has a little bit of a space in between each shape. So remember, you're going to be creating these shapes. They don't have to be perfect, and they should have a small gap in between the shapes that you draw. Now, I've just sped up the film here to fill in this area with that same color. Now, what if I want to change the color? So I draw my shape, and I can go back and change the color, but that's not quite right. You can go to Custom and then use the selection tools to change the color so that it matches that area almost exactly. And then you'll see it comes up on the bottom forever for the rest of your project. This way you can use it again, because chances are there's similar colors on the rest of your animal as well. I'm going to zoom out. I want to see how I'm doing. So in order to do that, you're going to click on the select tool, click the picture, and press delete. Then you can see where you're at. Press the back arrow to get your picture to come back. It's best to start your drawing where there's the most detail, usually the eyes or the mouth. And in these spaces, you want to do smaller shapes. So you want to zoom in and then fill in those smaller shapes. The more small shapes and difference in colors that you include, the more interesting your final artwork will look. The larger the shapes, the less detail, the less interesting your artwork will look. So here you go. You see I added some new custom colors in there. I'm zooming right in. Also, if you don't zoom in when you're trying to do small shapes, you will find that you have a hard time with your shape not being able to close. So zooming in is a really important tool, and zooming back out again to make sure that what you're doing looks right. As you continue on and you start to try to figure out what color belongs where, usually it's good to just kind of go with the color that's mostly there, especially if you have an animal that has a lot of variation in their fur texture. It's really mostly important to get like the light areas and the dark areas correct. Okay, let's speed up the film and see how this process works. Once you're finished, you're going to delete the photo by clicking the select tool and pressing delete. And now you can see the way your mosaic looks. Right-click to change the background, experiment, and see what background looks best with your mosaic. I think I like this one the best. It makes the colors pop. Once you're happy with your background and you want to download your picture, go to File, Download, and you're going to download it as a JPEG. It will save automatically to your drive if you're working on a Chromebook or to whatever device you're working on. And then you can share your artwork with other people. Well, let me know if you have any questions, and I can't wait to see what you all create.